Have you ever felt someone fading away before your eyes, without a word, without a fight? Have you ever sensed that slow, invisible shift as a person you once trusted began to drift into silence? It feels subtle at first, so subtle you might even question whether anything changed at all. But what if they were already halfway out the door long before you noticed? What if they decided in secret that you weren't part of their story anymore? People rarely talk about it, but the practice of quietly cutting someone off is more common than we'd like to believe. It's often easier to vanish emotionally than face the discomfort of honesty. That is what makes this behavior so confusing. Because when someone disappears like this, they rarely offer closure. Psychologists suggest this pattern often grows from a deep discomfort with confrontation. Whether learned in childhood or developed as a defense against trauma, avoiding the pain of direct honesty becomes a quiet, protective instinct. Sometimes it stems from fear of conflict, fear of causing pain, fear of facing their own guilt. Other times it emerges as a learned strategy, an echo of a culture that prizes cutting losses over cultivating difficult connections. This is especially clear in an era shaped by ghosting, by unfriending, by treating relationships as easily editable profiles on a screen. It is a survival tactic, yes, but one that often leaves someone else stranded in the dark. Have you noticed that it often happens without warning? The signs accumulate slowly. First, there is a missed message, then a canceled plan, then long gaps of silence. Every excuse feels small, manageable, until one day you realize they are simply gone. This kind of disappearing act is not an accident. It is a deliberate withdrawal disguised as indifference. The person withdrawing may never intend to hurt you, may even convince themselves they are sparing you pain. But the unspoken reality is this: quietly cutting someone off allows them to leave without the weight of accountability. And there is a reason it feels so unsettling. Human beings are wired for connection, but also for clarity. Studies in attachment theory show that unclear endings and emotional ambiguity can cause deeper psychological distress than direct rejection. Imagine losing someone gradually, without the dignity of a goodbye. That slow erosion of contact keeps you hoping long past the point of reason. It keeps you frozen in a state of waiting, searching your memories for where it all began to unravel. Every unanswered question compounds the ache. Every small, subtle absence reinforces a deeper truth. They left before you had the chance to understand. And what about those who do the leaving? Have you ever wondered what they feel as they slip away? The truth is, they may feel relief at first. Cutting someone off this way can feel like lifting a weight. It avoids all the messy consequences of a direct conversation. They don't have to explain. They don't have to see the impact. In some cases, they convince themselves that they're protecting everyone involved. But the relief rarely lasts, because every unresolved parting carries a cost. Every relationship ended without honesty leaves behind a shadow of guilt or regret. It festers in quiet places, surfacing in future connections as a vague unease they can't quite name. And yet people continue to do this. Why? Because the alternative, telling someone honestly that they no longer wish to be close, feels impossible for them. Maybe they grew up learning that their feelings weren't safe to express. Maybe they were punished for honesty. Maybe they learned that disappearing is easier than disappointing someone. Maybe they never witnessed someone set a boundary gracefully, so they resort to the only model they know: the quiet, painless fade. Have you ever considered what happens on the other end? The one left behind? This is where the deeper damage settles in. Being cut off silently is like having the floor give way beneath you. It doesn't matter who they were to you. A partner, a close friend, someone you thought you understood. What matters is that they denied you the dignity of an ending. Instead of closure, you receive questions. Did you do something wrong? Could you have changed their mind? Should you reach out one more time? The absence of answers fuels an invisible loop of self-blame. This is precisely why ghosting, fading, and quiet exits leave a pain all their own. And what happens if we never confront this pain? Do we quietly accept that people can come and go like shadows? Do we grow colder with every goodbye that never was? That is one of the darker truths beneath this behavior, that the more often we experience this kind of silent severing, the more we come to believe that honesty is too much to ask for. It reshapes our expectations of connection, can make us hesitant to trust again, reluctant to reveal too much, quick to assume the worst. After all, if someone can simply vanish without warning, why leave yourself exposed to that kind of loss again? There is a strange irony here. The people who cut others off to avoid pain often leave far more pain in their wake, and those left wondering what happened often close themselves off to avoid further damage. Two people, connected briefly by their fear of honesty, each retreating further into isolation. How many friendships, romances, and deep connections have been sacrificed to this cycle of quiet disappearances? And more importantly, can we choose something different? That is where your power lies. Even if someone else chooses the silent exit, you do not have to follow their lead into isolation. You do not have to accept the lie that honesty is dangerous. The next time someone fades away without explanation, acknowledge what is really happening. Name it for yourself. Give yourself the clarity they withheld out. Tell yourself aloud if you need to, that their withdrawal was about them. Their fear, their avoidance. Their history, and not a measure of your worth. You cannot control someone's inability to face discomfort, but you can control the way you hold your own. And then gently, you can reclaim your energy. Begin to notice who stays close, even when things are difficult. Notice who leans into honest conversations, who meets your openness with their own. Nurture those bonds. Let go of the ghostly connections that never truly had your back. The next time someone tries to vanish without a word, you will recognize it sooner. You will wish them well if you can. But most of all, you will not chase a door that was already closed. When you do this, when you refuse to chase someone who cannot give you honesty, you send yourself a powerful message. You remind yourself that connection built on authenticity matters more than the illusion of harmony, and that is the quiet shift that changes everything. It's not always easy, and it doesn't erase the sting of being left behind, but it does allow you to grow past the ache, into a deeper trust in your own sense of truth. And once you make that shift, someone's silent exit will never again define you. It will simply pass, like a shadow, like a ghost. While you remain rooted in your own light, protect your energy. Stay curious. Subscribe for more from Beneath the Cortex.